Hey, I'm Doug Jackson with the law firm Douglas G. Jackson, and I'm here right now with Frank Correa, who is a local hero, really, St. Petersburg. Well, you're not here anymore, but you're still in the Tampa Bay area. But I believe that we have this problem right now. We're not looking to our real heroes that we have right in front of us. We're looking to celebrities, we're looking to movie stars, we're looking to people that really are not like us, where we can actually look just locally and learn from people and aspire to be something to really our communities. And so I'm excited to have Frank here, who's going to tell us about his story so that we can learn what it is he did, so we can aspire to be more like Frank. So, Frank, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Frank Correa. I was born in Torrington, Connecticut. I've lived the majority of my life here in Florida. I joined the United States Marine Corps in 1988. I was an infantryman, 0311 rifleman, and I went to Paris Island for boot camp, the School of Infantry in Camp Pendleton, California. And from there, I went to Mare Island, California for Security Forces School. And upon completion of that, I was assigned to Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team Pacific, which is Fast Company. It's an anti-terrorism unit that is basically the tactical unit that supports embassies and consulates throughout the world. And if one of our naval installations comes under a terrorist threat, my teams that still exist to this day go in there and reinforce the facilities and prevent acts of terrorism.
What compelled you to do all this, Frank?
I grew up in a very patriotic family. My parents are fled communist Cuba. They lost everything in the early 1960s. So I grew up in a very patriotic home and I truly love this nation and everything it represents.
All right. Well, thanks for doing all this, Frank. And actually, one of the stories you told me that I think is one of the most interesting is you were one of the first out deployed there in Desert Storm. Is that right?
Yes, my team was deployed 6 days after Saddam had invaded the country of Kuwait back in August of 1990. And we were activated, and I was in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia shortly after that. And yes, we were one of the first American forces to arrive in Saudi.
How'd that feel?
It was scary. I was only a kid. I was 20 years old. My son had just been born. When I deployed, he was 6 weeks old, and it was a very frightening situation, and we didn't know what we were getting into. And when we first got there, our forces were very, very small, and at the time, you had over 600,000 Iraqi forces just across the border from us. So, needless to say, it was very stressful, especially in the beginning.
All right. I'm a big believer that we can learn a lot by talking to people like you. Can you tell us a little bit? Because I've said before, I haven't had the same experience with you as you, but I've said before, you know, fear is not something to be embarrassed of. It's natural. But what's important is courage. And
Mhm.
how can people, when we're exposed to fear, I mean, not necessarily like what you were exposed to, but we have different fears in our daily life. What lessons can you give us about how to face that fear, how to overcome it just like you did?
Uh, you, it's natural to be afraid. It is. And, what really kept me going is the confidence I had in my training. Thank goodness at that time, and I believe even today, our armed forces are very well trained, and we go through a lot of stuff in our training to prepare us. But really, even with all that training, there's nothing like when you really are engrossed in something really, really difficult. You just work your way through it. You dig deep inside. The beautiful thing is you got your brothers next to you, your sisters are next to you, and we put each other's lives in our hands, and that builds a special bond that we all have, especially when you've been deployed in very stressful situations. Even to this day, I'm very, very close to those I served with. But it's not easy. It's not easy. People have difficulties out here, of course, in the civilian world and all that. But when you're going to a foreign country and your lieutenant says you need to write your death letters, which for people that don't know what that is basically we write a letter to our significant other. It could be a parent, it could be a wife, it could be a brother, whoever. And what we do is we exchange those letters to each other, so that God forbid something happens, at least you hold that responsibility of hand delivering it. That's something tough, especially when you're a kid. Literally, I was a kid. I was a child, 20 years old, with an infant and a wife, and it's it's something definitely to ponder the fact of possible death, and it's not easy, especially when you're far away from your family. Uh, that's why we got to do everything we can for our men and women in our forces and our veterans that come back. No doubt, no doubt.
Well, I mean, we could end it there. You're obviously a hero based on the story you told us, but you didn't. Your story didn't really end there. You came back. You you did a lot here in the community. I mean, because and I think and I should have asked you before I just put this on camera, but
Yeah.
I have this belief that really the most important thing about our military is making sure that we're able to defend our civilian life, our civilian freedoms here at home, and make sure that our communities here at home are strong.
Yeah.
And so I mean, thank you for going off and making sure that we have the ability to build up these communities at home. But I think it's important too to build up the communities at home. And you've done a lot after you came back. Can you tell
Yeah.
us about that?
Yeah, I ended up working for a law enforcement agency for 27 years. And I also am very much involved with a lot of veterans groups, Marine Corps League, Veterans of Foreign Wars, American Legion. I was involved with a museum for 9 years of my life, and got to interact and all that, because I think the American story is a great story. I can honestly tell everyone that we live truly in the greatest country in God's green earth. There's no doubt about it. I've been all over the world. I've seen oppression. I've seen pain. I've seen desperation. I've seen discrimination. I've seen, the worst of what man can do to each other. And, we're not perfect. But I got to tell you, I was always very thankful to come home. And even despite all of our differences and everything today, this is the best deal. You can take that to the bank. It truly is. The word hero gets thrown around, and I appreciate it. And I always tell people, I said it to somebody today. They thank me for my service, and I always tell people, you're worth it. You're definitely worth it. But the true heroes are the ones that never came home. The ones that died, and you still have people that are missing in action out there, prisoners of war. We've sacrificed a lot, and I'm grateful to be here. And I figure that my job is to represent them, and they're not able to be here right now.
Well, Frank, I'm going to respectfully disagree. You're a true hero in my book. I think, and part of what I'm hoping that people see is that you don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be famous to do something heroic. There's little acts of kindness, of heroism that you can do, even if they're not. I mean, of course, you are around people that sacrifice it all, so you understand the levels of heroics. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't even gonna, like me, aren't even gonna measure up to you, Frank. So but I think it's important that you do the little acts of kindness, the little acts of leadership, the little acts of heroics, wherever you can, whether it's in your community, trying to. How many tours did you give at that museum?
Oh, hundred,
Yeah.
countless amounts, you know. One thing I like to say is we have these holidays, we have these federal holidays, you know, you got Veterans Day coming up, you get Memorial Day, 4th of July, and those are all great days. We take a moment. What I encourage people is take time, especially if you have kids or grandkids or anybody. And, you know, we have those days and what do? We go to the beach, we have barbecues, but take the time to at least for a moment to discuss what is this holiday. You know, one of the things that sometimes bothers veterans is, you know, like Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. It's really not a happy day. It's a day of, you know, remembering and honoring those that didn't come home, that never had an opportunity to get married or have children, or a career, you know, and see, you know, their families and stuff like that. And they died in all corners of the earth in defense of this great country. It's a tremendous amount of sacrifice. So, you know, I encourage people to take time out. And one thing I remember going to the hospital over here, the VA hospital in St. Pete, one time. They have a fantastic sign as you enter. He says that the price of freedom is visible here. That's very profound. The price of freedom is visible here. And I even encourage people, you know, go to your VA hospital. Even if you're not a veteran, there's no restriction. It's just like any other hospital. You could park your car. In fact, they don't charge for parking. You can go inside and just observe what's going on. Look at a lot of lives that are people that are going through a lot of things, and take an opportunity to thank them, and bring your kids, you know, and just observe and just point it out and let them shake some hands, and you know, maybe they can cheer up some people. But I encourage people to do that.
Thank you, Frank. And I mean, one of the things that we do sometimes forget is that when people are off fighting for our freedom, for our communities here, the other thing we need to do is really acknowledge what we have here, acknowledge the relationships, acknowledge the community building. Because I mean, Frank, he went off, he fought in the Gulf War, came back, and still helped build this community. I mean, I talk about the things you can learn from heroes and leaders, and they can really be our role models. And I think Frank is exactly that. He's just a shining star in our community. He's served not only his country but his community for so long in so many ways, both officially and unofficially, as the museum.
Sure.
I mean, what you said, I think, is just so important about education. I mean,
Mm.
you didn't use the word education, but that's really what you were
Yeah,
saying.
it's educating, and you know, the story of America is a really an amazing story. It's truly a miracle, and even to this day, you know, it's still the beacon of light, the hope of mankind. And that's why so many people come here. You know, they're looking for that dream, and that dream still exists. And it exists, and it will continue to exist because we've got so many marvelous young people that go and they raise their right hand and they swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And they're definitely not doing it for the money. That's for sure. If you're going into the military thinking, "Oh, I'm making big bucks," that's not the case. You know, even generals that one would think they do make good money when you really factor in the incredible amount of responsibility and the responsibility of human life. Um, it's not even close to what, you know, a lot of CEOs and stuff like that are making in Fortune 500 companies. And it doesn't take away. There's a lot of good people in the civilian world, and you mentioned celebrities earlier. There's a lot of them that are doing some good. They use their position of fame to better other people, also veterans, but they also help other people and organizations, which is a good thing, and it's a commendable thing. It's just, I think that every American should find a way of giving back somehow, in their capacity, with their talents or whatever, to their community, because you know, one individual success is ultimately our nation's success. That's what we want. We want to all be successful in life. So that's my thought.
Pretty good thoughts. And you said, talked about the American story being great. I think your story is also great. So thank you for sharing. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it because I'm a big believer that, hey, look, we need to start really looking at our own communities. If we start focusing on our own communities,
Sure,
start just trying to be a little bit better every day
sure.
and look to people like Frank and say, look what he did. He's not a celebrity. He's not anyone that maybe you've ever heard of before watching this video. But
Mhm.
if you can be a little bit more like him, we're going to have a better community. If everyone did that, we're going to have a better community because that's what Frank, I think, did probably every single day of his life is he's always trying to just help someone be a little bit better every single
No,
day.
and a compliment goes to you too, because your firm has been a proud supporter of veterans, and you've done so much for me personally. I could never be where I'm at without the assistance of your firm. So I'm very, very grateful to you.
Thank you very much, Frank, for
Okay.
sharing your story.
All right.
And we're gonna hopefully have more heroes like Frank. Maybe not as heroic as Frank here, but more heroes like Frank, more leaders, because I believe that it's important that we talk about the real leaders in our community, the real people that should be our role models, the people that we can actually talk to, that we can interact with, that can help mentor us, like Frank has mentored me in a lot of ways over these years. So we hope to see you next time. Thanks again, Frank. Thank you for your
Thank
service.
you.